Today on the Superhero Institute, in addition to this awesome superhero hair, I'm going to teach you about feedback and testimonials. One, how to give great feedback and testimonials so that it makes the other person light up, but then also how to ask for a testimonial or feedback so that you get exactly what it is that you need for that social proof. That sweet, sweet social proof. Let's go! It's hair. I'm on day 2 of the haircut, and it's like real poofy. See, you got that part. I need to shower and redo this. Also, apologies for the mess behind me. I still haven't put together the crib. I'm working on it. Got a lot of stuff going on. All right, today we're going to talk about feedback and testimonials. So I want to give you a format, a framework to be able to use if you're going to give somebody a testimonial or some feedback. And it's also a really good framework to use if you're going to ask someone for feedback or testimonial. So if you remember from a couple of videos ago, I talked about the art of pitching, and I gave you this framework, ABC. And in this case, I'm going to give you a very similar framework, except I'm going to use less of an acronym and just more of a flow. So there's 4 points to doing a really good testimonial. So here's how it's going to work. Let's say that I'm going to pretend that you're a sales coach just to make the example real, okay? So in this example, I'm going to be giving you a testimonial as my sales coach, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what my life was like before I started working with you. How were my sales results? What are the things that I struggled with? How did I feel? The more that I can get descriptive about how my life was challenging before working with you, the better the end result testimonial is going to be. So I'm going to start off by talking all about my struggles, all about what was tough before that. So, before I started working with you, I had a really hard time generating enough incoming leads. And even the leads that I did get, I had a really hard time closing those leads. I was really lacking a system, and I mostly felt like I was, really putting in a lot of time and energy, but not getting a lot of results for it. And it was very, very frustrating, and it was really demoralizing. Part 1. Okay. Second part is I'm going to say, why did I decide to work with you? So in this, it's going to be, where did I find you? What did you say that convinced me? Was it a part of your sales material? Was it a testimonial that you read? Was it, what was it? Right. So I might say something along the lines of, when I found you on the web, I looked at your website copy, and it was almost like, he or she was reading my mind. They had been through what I had been through, and the way that they described the building of a process to alleviate that anguish and stress that I was dealing with, it just really resonated with me. And my suspicions were confirmed when I got on the phone with him or her, and she just really understood what I was going through and talked to me about what their process or plan was like that was really going to help me get to where I wanted to go. Second part, okay? Third part, I'm going to talk about what it was like to work with you, hopefully stressing that it was easy to work with you. So like, what was the whole process really like? So I might say something along the lines of, and once we started working together, I mean, honestly, the process could not be easier. He or she gave me all of the resources that I need and all of the guidance and support so that I was sure that I wouldn't fail. So it was a real joy to work together, and I really felt like I have a much better handle on what I can do in my sales process now that we've done our work together. Okay, that's the third part. Fourth part is where you're going to say what your life is like now that you've done it. So this is the after, right? It's very similar to the pitch. I've done the before kind of parts of this. Now I'm in the after part where I'm talking about what it's like. So I would say something like, now I have more leads than I really know how to get back to, which is a good thing. And I'm continuing to work with so-and-so to help me work with these additional leads so that I can put them off into the future, so I have an ongoing stream of new clients for the future. I'm closing more business, and the clients that I'm bringing in are so much better than the ones that I was before in terms of being a better fit for my price point and what I have to offer. Thank you, so-and-so. I really appreciate all of the help. Right? Very simple framework. What was it like before I started working with so-and-so, and what was I struggling with? Then, why did I decide to work with this person? Was it easy to work with them? How was it to work with them, etc.? And then what's my life like now? Okay, that's the 4-part thing. Now, you can follow that, and it's very effective. This is great for a video testimonial. So if you just have the person look a little bit off screen, you kind of look like this, and they're talking to so-and-so. It was really great to work with them, yada, yada, yada. Great way to do a video testimonial. There's a really great format for it. You can do 2 or 3 of them, put them on your website. It's going to look real good. But I want to give you a little bit more today. So that's the baseline. Here's the bonus. If you really want to take it to the next level, if you really want to make sure that any sort of feedback you give people, any testimonials, goes to the next level, I got this secret weapon. And it's the way to make sure that your testimonials really stand out and are dynamite. And I got to tell you, when you give people dynamite testimonials or feedback, they're more likely to want to give you dynamite testimonials or feedback in return. But that's not why we do it, of course. But if you're going to give someone a testimonial, you should really rock it, okay? And there's a secret thing that you can do that's going to make your testimonial stand above and beyond anybody else's. Are you ready for it? Put your whole entire heart into it. When you put yourself into the testimonial, really give yourself, use your language and voice the way that you would, it changes everything. So that's the first point. The second point is, whenever I give someone a testimonial, first thing I'm going to ask them is there anything that you would like me to highlight in this so that among the other testimonials and feedback you have, it helps to round out what you need. Now, I want to tell you why I do this. See, back in, it was around 2011, 2012, I was just starting my first business, and people knew me as like the social media guy, right? And what most people knew about me was that I was high energy and that I was passionate about social media. So all of the reviews and testimonials that I had gotten up until this point, around 2012, were basically like, Jeff's passionate, Jeff knows social media, Jeff loves social media, Jeff's passionate about social media, his passion and enthusiasm is infectious. Great. So now I just sound like a hyped up troll that loves social media. Not particularly helpful when you're trying to pitch medium and large businesses. So at the time, I had somebody that I was doing a lot of referral work with. Her name was Amy Larimore. And I remember that we had decided to do LinkedIn recommendations for one another. And before she gave me mine, she asked me, she said, Jeff, is there anything you'd like me to focus on, particularly that's, honest and accurate? Is there anything you'd like me to focus on in this LinkedIn review? And I was like, Amy, I appreciate you asking me that because everybody just keeps saying passionate and enthusiastic, and it just makes me sound hyperactive. I work really hard to be a serious business consultant and to really try and understand what a business is going through. I have an MBA. Like, I care about helping these businesses get results. Can you do something that kind of rounds out the enthusiasm, passion part? Like, can you focus on, the business acumen? She was like, sure. So I'm going to read you what she wrote. This is on my LinkedIn profile. Back in 2012. Don't let his affable, easygoing nature fool you. Jeff Gibbard is a serious marketing strategist. He has a keen eye for opportunities you've missed, some so straightforward you'll want to smack your forehead at the brilliance and simplicity. That's true. It's not that he focuses on things that are easy. Actually, one of the things I value most about Jeff is in his ability to take complex ideas and depict them visually, powerfully, and clearly. Jeff puts his extraordinary creativity to good use by developing implementable and ROI measurable ideas. He's an excellent researcher, many times comes to projects with examples he's found in other places to deconstruct in brainstorming sessions. I never hesitate to put Jeff on a project or in front of a client. I'm confident that he'll put the right strategy in place to meet business goals and charm the room at the same time. Now, that's still, to this date, one of the best LinkedIn recommendations I've ever got. So Amy, if you're watching, thank you. But beyond that, it instilled in me from that day forward, 8 years ago, a time of recording essentially, that I should be doing the same thing. And that hopefully when people do recommendations or testimonials for me, that I would have the freedom and flexibility to ask them to focus on certain things. Now, I'm never going to ask somebody to focus on something that's untrue. And you should never ask people to focus on things that are untrue. And you should never be willing to talk about things that are untrue. But if somebody asks you to direct your referral or your recommendation or testimonial around a certain attribute of theirs because it's lacking from their testimonials, hopefully you'd be willing to do that. And I think it makes for a better recommendation overall. The second part is asking about whether or not there's something to be focused on. The first part is about putting your damn heart into it. And I want to read you just a couple recommendations. I'm going to read you 2 recommendations that I've written within the last, at time of recording, the last 2 weeks. And I've written these for 2 people that I know. I've worked with both of them, and they both asked me to write them a LinkedIn recommendation. I want to read you how I wrote it. And I wrote both of these. I literally did not go back and edit these. I wrote these completely free association. I put them right on paper, and this is what I wrote. And tell me if this is a person that after reading this, you would want to talk to. Ray is undeniably one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. Before getting into the hard skills, I need to take a moment to appreciate that every single time I see him, it's like the room brightens up. Ray is a breath of fresh air and his positive energy is infectious. Now, as for working with Ray, he is a true professional in every sense of the word, and his approach to every interaction is completely saturated in real customer service. Outside of my own experience with Ray, which I will get into, I've witnessed him interact with customers or clients that he's meeting for the first time, and they immediately look like old friends. That is what makes Ray so special. He creates deep, real, authentic connection almost instantaneously. I've worked with Ray for several years on a variety of projects, but most notably, he was the audio engineer for my podcast, Shareable, for almost 3 years. He was responsive, professional, accurate, and flexible, and a pure joy to work with. Ray also has been generous with his time, knowledge, and creativity, and has helped me enormously over the time I've known him. I endorse Ray wholeheartedly, and I can't think of anything that I wouldn't put my complete faith and trust in him to accomplish if he says that he can. Right? All that's true. Every bit of that. It took virtually no thought on my part to say all of those things about Ray, because Ray is freaking awesome. And the point is, the voice that I write that in is exactly how I would talk to someone. I think we get very hung up on formality when we do these testimonials or feedback for people, and we feel like we need to use, $10 words and things like that. I refuse to do such a thing. Instead, I write from my heart. Let me tell you about, I'm going to read you another one that I wrote for a former colleague of mine who's a UX strategist and designer. Absolutely brilliant, mind you, named David. Over more than a decade of working on the web, I've only encountered a few people with as much talent and potential as David. I'm not exaggerating even a little bit. He is something truly unique. The first thing that I noticed about David is his endless curiosity and voracious appetite for learning. His catalog of styles, examples, and sources of inspiration is amazing, and if this recommendation accomplishes nothing else, it should at least get you to go follow him on Instagram to broaden your horizons. David is also an excellent communicator, which is essential because he brings extremely creative ideas that may involve substantial complexity, but he's able to break it down into something simple and digestible. Finally, he's not just ideas. David is a true unicorn, a brilliant UX strategist who can design and develop. Good luck finding another. So I'll wrap this recommendation up by saying that for agencies who want to bring their user experience practice to a whole new level, talk to David Martin. He's the real deal. This is how I write all of my recommendations. I look at the person and I identify, like a caricaturist would, what are their outstanding and unique attributes? And then I go to town on just describing it with as much love and heart as I possibly can. Because I want it that when somebody reads a recommendation or a testimonial that I wrote, one, they hear my voice come through loud and clear. This isn't a copy-paste job. This isn't a template. This is me writing from my heart about people that I have had genuine experiences with and that I can vouch for. And I want that to make them look awesome. And if I can help other people by giving them a testimonial, then that's the whole reason for giving a testimonial, isn't it? Why lend your voice to something unless you can get behind it wholeheartedly? So go forth, give people some LinkedIn recommendations, write it, go for it. Make a video testimonial for a book that you loved. Do something where you can give that feedback and help somebody else grow in their life and their career. Because if you do that, I'd be willing to bet that other people are going to be willing to do it for you. And I just gave you a format for doing it, so you're ready. Go ahead. Now, I'd like to ask you, have you subscribed to the Superhero Institute on YouTube yet? Because you should. And you should probably also tap that notification bell. And if you do that, you will see me here next week on the Superhero Institute, right here on the YouTube. See you next time.